What happens when we die? Is there an afterlife? Do we go to heaven? Or even worse, hell? Can we communicate with the dead? And if we can, should we? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 23 of Pedro Paranormal. I'm here. We're here again, as always. My co-host Carlos and myself, Tony. And today's episode, we are going to be discussing werewolves. Werewolves and anything that has to do with werewolves. You know, either origin, movies, the same old that we always do. Yeah. But you know what? Let me adjust. I forgot to put you here on full screen.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Okay. So, now you can see the complete transformation. Yeah. So anyways, today's episode, you know, I don't know how to say this, but I couldn't find too much stuff about werewolves. You know, not as much as the vampires.
Mm-hmm.
And as the last episode, the witch episode, the witchcraft episode, but it seems to me, you know, I was looking through all the different films that, you know, comparing the number of films to the vampire films, anything with witchcraft, witches, the Mummy, stuff like that, and it seems like werewolves are kind of like the underdog, like the one that doesn't get so much, so much attention.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, there's still a few things to mention about it.
Right, exactly. There's a few things we can talk about. The thing is that with werewolves, they kind of closely are kind of aligned, or they come out around the same century as the last episode we did, which was witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk a little bit about that.
That's right.
And we'll bounce around a little bit about the history, just little tidbits until we get to the movie section.
Yeah. But Carlos, what is the first? I know I don't want to jump into movies right away. Well, actually, you know what? Let's start with the origins. Did you find anything about, like, what's the history of werewolves, or when was the first time they, like, you know, that werewolves were ever mentioned, like, in either books or anything in school?
They could be mentioned in school. I mean, it all depends on what they teach. If it's European studies, it'll definitely have to be with in correlation with the witchcraft trials. And back in Europe, which we talked about last episode, toward the end of the witchcraft hunts, they were actually going away from witches, and they were going towards the wolves, the werewolf men. That these people would go out and they would find bodies all over the place with parts of their throat missing, and they would find the accuser, and yes, he would admit, kind of like what we talked about last episode. They want attention, or they've been tormented so long that they would admit that they're this monster going around killing people.
Yeah,
and that's around.
Yeah, and you know what? That's one of the things that I did find of. I think it was the 1500s, where there was a case of a few people children were going missing. And eventually they started finding the bodies all like they were attacked by an animal or something. Right. But and then they ended up finding out who the person that was doing the murders was, and this person actually ended up admitting that, I guess, some kind of some kind of witch had talk about werewolves, how you can hear them. But that supposedly a witch had given him some kind of a drink that gave him the ability to turn into a werewolf and and commit these crimes. But I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking this guy's just killing people, and then wild animals find the bodies and start eating them. And I think it was just a mixture of things that ended up making people think that there was actually like a werewolf. Eating these kids and stuff.
You're right. Yeah, you might be out. You might be right on that, because there's actually a strange case as opposed to the trials of last week. There was this trial for this werewolf person that he claimed that he was a wolf. He went out and he killed people, and they were putting him on trial. And this is one of the first I guess a gentleman that actually had a lawyer, and the lawyer was like, you know what, Your Honor, my client, he is crazy, he is nuts. And for once, I was like shocked when I was reading this that they let him go. They're like, yeah, you're right. This person is unstable, mentally challenged. I forget what the word is for back then, but they let him go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and you know what? In Mexico, there was the whole thing. Actually, you know what? It's even the what do you call the? I don't want to say Indians. What's a correct name for? The indigenous people, I guess. Mm-hmm. Didn't they also have a thing? We talked about this, I think, on one of the previous episodes where they believe they could connect with their animal spirit, I guess. And right. I know they believe that they could turn into wolves. I'm not saying werewolves, but into wolves, eagles, and stuff like that.
Shapeshifters.
Right. Oh, that's right. Shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? That also happens in Mexico. There's a whole thing again, I hate to say this, that we mentioned this in a previous episode, but they have what they call the Nahual, which is the same thing like a shapeshifter, where these witch doctors or these people that would somehow connect with their animal spirit and end up turning into these animals, but almost a deformity of human and beast, you know.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of that on that. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool.
Yeah, that's a totally different subject altogether. The people changing into different animals.
Yeah,
that's like a shapeshifter episode.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be something like that, right? That's where the whole werewolf thing came from. Maybe these people, you know, changing into animals and eating people. But
yeah, I think it was the North people are the ones that came up with that name, right? The werewolf name is from lichen or lycos, and I guess they were one of the originator ones too. Lycanthropy, I think it's called lycanthropy. So that's where that name comes from.
That's where they got the title for the Underworld films, right?
You're right. And watching one of the early movies, The Wolfman, 1941, this starts off with a definition of that in the beginning. So I thought that was kind of cool. I've never seen the movie all the way through because I guess I was so young or never paid much attention. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it talks about that in that movie. But we'll discuss that later.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, what else did you find out about this? I mean, did you find any cases like what's the most recent case that you found out about? Like anything like in the 80s or 70s? Because during the 70s, during the 70s, I remember there was a lot of films that came out about werewolves and stuff. Like it almost did like a big comeback during that time.
Mostly 81 to about 85.
Okay, so it was the 80s, the early 80s.
Right, and that was the majority of movies that I watched this week, which is based on those years. But I didn't do any research on like what's going on now.
Most recent.
But I'm sure around my neighborhood, once the full moon comes out, there's gonna be a lot of wackos out
there. But I mean, you did see the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the viewers, especially on the Spanish channels like Telemundo and stuff, they used to do these interviews with these circus people, and they called them the Wolf Boys. Remember that?
Yes.
And it was a family of these boys. I think even the girls had it, that would grow hair all over their face and their hands, and they look like what you would call a werewolf, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a couple of pictures I'm going to post up about them, and I'm going to post up a couple of pictures of a long time ago, I'm not sure, 16th, 17th century, around there, there was a family, and they're dressed in the royal suits with the little collars that pop out. Like I forget what it's called. That
the ruffles.
The neck collar, the ruffles.
Uh-huh.
But the face is hairy, and they're like from a certain part of Spain, I think it was, right? And it's very interesting.
So I mean, how is it that this happens though? I mean, could it be that maybe there was some kind of a mixture between human and beast back in the day, and somehow some kind of a mutant came out? I mean, I don't know. Because I mean, if it's been around that long, I mean, if we saw it recently on those TV shows, I'm pretty sure that's always it's probably existed forever, but it's probably very rare. But or maybe it's just some kind of defect, some.
I think it was 1 in a billion births. that this actually happens.
Okay.
When in the billion births, yes. And what happens is this gene is unlocked. So the parent is a carrier, the mom, and then the dad is a carrier. And once they get together and they have the offspring, that enables that part of the chromosome, and you become full beast mode.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy because that kind of like lets you know that, you know, humans, animals, and everything, you know, we all have that possibility with the DNA, but it just depends on, you know. It makes you think.
Similar to when you have two parents, both of them have brown eyes, but then the baby's born and it has green eyes or blue eyes.
Yeah.
Because both parents were carriers of that blue eye gene, even though they have brown eyes.
It's almost like when people are born with that other thing. What is it called when they're born with no hair? Right? It's like the complete opposite.
Save money on haircuts.
Yeah, kind of like the movie Prometheus.
Right, the engineers.
The engineers. Yeah. So I mean, I do remember growing up seeing these circus people, and I'm pretty sure they're still around, right? They probably just not as popular, but as back in the day. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid and I saw this, you know, it did kind of spark that, like, you know, what if it was possible, you know, to somehow get bitten by, like, it's like Spider-Man, you know, the whole spider bites you turn into Spider-Man, a wolf bites you turn into a wolf man.
Right. But, well, a lot back then that wasn't the case, right? It was different stories. For example, the Norse people believe that if you slept underneath a full moon, you would become this wolf man.
Mm. So was that just to make your kids go home early before the
yeah, you can't be a wild child outside. You have to come in before it gets dark, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So back in the day, the whole turning into a werewolf wasn't because you were bitten by a wolf then?
It just started off as simple, and later on, I guess, with storytelling books and Hollywood, it just it evolved into this thing that we have now, which is, you know, it's a good evolution of the Wolfman or werewolf.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in high school, there was a book that I read, and I told you about this book, Carlos, where you're able to do out-of-body experiences.
Right.
And they did have a couple of chapters on how to like connect with your inner beast or animal, and how to actually turn into these animals. I never tried it. But
spirit animal, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
is beer an animal?
You're gonna turn into a keg?
I don't know, become a cannibal.
Yeah, but hey Carlitos, what was the first getting off, you know, the whole history of it now. What was the first film you ever watched of? You remember watching it growing up of werewolves?
Besides Teen Wolf.
Was it Teen Wolf? That was your first film?
It was Teen Wolf, and because it's the 80s, right? So it was Teen Wolf and American Werewolf in London.
That's right.
American Werewolf in London. And I went back and I saw the other films that you recommended, which I did want to see, but I was kind of too scared at the video store. Back in the VHS days, I wanted to see the Howling, but I was always too scared to get it. But I did go back and I saw it this week. And Silver Bullet. I can't believe Silver Bullet. I still haven't seen. I can't believe I didn't see it as a child.
I think I saw that back in junior high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? The first film I watched was in America. What is it? An American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
And that movie, man, what a great werewolf movie. That was a really good film. It reminded me a lot of what was that other movie? Pet Sematary, I think it was.
Right. It has
a lot of action. Feel.
Has a little bit of comedy, a little bit of funny moments, but all in all, it's a very well written movie.
Yeah.
And I think out of all the movies that I saw this week, that was my favorite one again.
Oh yeah, that was the best out of the bunch.
Yeah, out of the bunch. Yeah.
You know what?
I did see quite a bit.
I
wanted to watch a few, but I don't have access to them. So I did see, like I mentioned, I saw The Wolfman, American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, Teen Wolf. But there's a few that I wanted to see, which I don't know anything about. But there's one called Late Phases. There's another one called Wolf, and I think that one's the one with Jack Nicholson, I believe.
Oh yeah, Wolf. Yeah.
Wolf. Okay, it's Wolf. Okay. The Company of Wolves, Curse of the Werewolf. I think Curse of the Werewolf is an old one too, and I didn't get a chance to see that one. But these 4 or 5 that I saw are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's another one that kind of takes me back now to what we were talking about, how the indigenous people. You know, there's a film called Woofin. Did you see any trailer on that or anything online about that?
No, that was on my list, but I just couldn't find it.
Yeah.
I don't have access to it.
Yeah, you know what? I think that film's on Hulu. For anybody out there that wants to watch it, it's on Hulu. But that film, it does have to do with the whole thing of how there was this. I think it's supposed to be the late 70s or the early 80s, and this guy goes to investigate, these murders, and there's like wolves involved, and they end up finding out that what do you call them? Not indigenous people. What do you call the American? It's not Indian. I know I don't mean to offend anybody. What do they? What's the correct term for the Indian? Not an Indian.
Native American.
Native American. There you go. Jeez.
Yeah, they're still indigenous, right?
Yeah, indigenous. But anyways, in this film, this guy finds there's Native Americans living in the woods, and they're actually turning into wolves by doing these rituals and connecting with their inner animal, and they turn into werewolves. It's a really good film. You got to check that out, Woofin.
I'll find it. I had no access, but I'm really looking forward to looking.
It's kind of up there with Silver Bullet and the Wolf with Benicio del Toro. Was that called a Wolf?
Okay.
Wolfman, I think. Wolfman. But
the remake. Yeah.
The remake. Yeah, but now going back to like the worst werewolf film I watched, and it's a movie that I actually found fun and entertaining back when I was younger, but I watched it again this week. Movie sucks. Michael J. Fox, what were you thinking? Teen Wolf. Oh my god. You know what? I couldn't even really sit through it. I had to forward through most of the film.
What's wrong with you? I love that movie. I watched it. I loved it.
I don't know. It was just so cheesy. Yeah. It was too cheesy.
Well, it's the 80s. What do you expect?
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
I honestly still enjoy that movie to this day. I mean, to me, watching Teen Wolf versus watching The Howling, I'd rather watch Teen Wolf.
Than watching The Howling. Oh, you know what? I like The Howling. That was pretty good. Is The Howling the one with the mom from E.T.? Where she's a news lady?
The news lady, and she there's some good moments about it, but I don't know. There's some cheesy parts.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The ending was kind of lame. When she turned into a puppy. But it had a really good build up to it. But I mean, Teen Wolf. Oh man, I don't know. I love Michael J. Fox. I love Back to the Future.
Michael J. Fox. You got Boof. You got Styles. You have Chubb.
Yeah. But I don't know. You know what? I actually
do like it. I like it because it's different than the other werewolf movies. It's like a coming of age movie with the kid. He's going through these changes, which is in this case werewolf changes, and it's just different than the other ones. Maybe because I was so saturated in the other elements, which was the darker side. I kind of enjoyed this movie because it was a nice little break.
And you know what? I did watch a film that was actually from the same time, and it's more of a comedy, and that was Full Moon High, and that was actually pretty entertaining.
It sounds funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, what's that about? This high school?
Yeah, it's almost like Teen Wolf, but a little more. Oh, here we go. It's like Teen Wolf if you mix Teen Wolf with Grease.
Okay. Then I wouldn't like it.
Teen Wolf and Grease. Yeah, but you know what? Silver Bullet. I know I told you to watch that film because I remember watching it when I was younger, but. What is Silver Bullet about? All I remember is that there's some kid or something, and an uncle or a grandfather telling the kid there's a werewolf, or am I wrong? I don't even remember.
It's a werewolf story, but it takes place in a small town, a small community where everybody knows each other, and people are going missing. People, the kids, and the neighbor's kid, and the bunch of adults, and it's up to this one boy to find the mystery and to put an end to this the werewolf because nobody believes him. and it's his uncle that helps him with his first wheelchair that's motor based. It runs off a 2-stroke engine, and he gives him a gift. He upgrades that wheelchair to an actual trike. It's like a motorcycle, and it's with a wheelchair. Because the kid's was it paraplegic paraplegic, right? He can't move his legs. So it's neat because it's all about chase and rockets. And if you were a kid back in the day, you watch this movie, and if you're a kid now and you watch it, you'll love it because you're kind of like this hero that nobody will listen to, the little rebel.
It's like Home Alone with wolves.
Kind of,
yeah, you know what? I remember really liking that film. Does it still like? It's still as good as? Well, you never watched it before, but you said it was really good though.
I had fun watching. Okay. There's better werewolf movies, but for what it is, just like Teen Wolf, it's a little different. I enjoy the kid portion of it, brought my inner child out.
Yeah. There you go.
And speaking of fireworks,
oh yeah,
there's a fireworks scene where his uncle gives him fireworks to go shoot off at night in the bridge, and that's when he has his first encounter with the werewolf on the other edge, and he's just throwing fireworks, and he sees a wolf, and he shoots one at him, and he hits him right in the eye, and that's how they find the wolf the next day.
That's right. That's right. Wasn't there a story like about that, like in real life, where they believe someone was a werewolf in a small town, and then I think he got shot. They shot the wolf, and then a couple of days later they find out one of the farmers has like a wound, and they thought he was like a werewolf or like a wolf or something.
There are several stories.
I don't know if I just made that up in my mind, but.
I'm not sure exactly how the story goes, but there's this one where this man has a battle with the werewolf, and he chops off the hand of the werewolf. The werewolf scampers off. He looks at the hand, and it transforms back into a human form with the wedding band on it. He finds out that it's his wife. So he goes to the room and sees her bandaged up and kills her.
Oh dang! That was real?
No, it's a story.
maybe that's where I'm remembering it from. Was it one of those books? Was it one of those books like the scary story books? You know, when we were young, where it had a mixture of different tales of the macabre.
Yeah, like the Brothers Grimm, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, because I do remember reading a book I think it was in maybe even elementary about there was a story about this husband and wife, and the wife, I think the husband was a werewolf, and the husband would tell the wife, you know, I can't eat meat. I never feed me anything with meat. So the lady would always make like all these vegetarian plates and stuff, you know. And the thing is, I guess one day she found out a way to make a special dinner that actually had meat in it, but so little of it that you couldn't see the meat. So then she ends up feeding the dinner to the husband, and when he's eating it, he can't, he starts, like, the animal in him starts coming out, and he starts going crazy, and he ends up, like, turning into a wolf and killing the wife. And that was the reason why he stopped eating meat, because then that would end up making him turn into a werewolf. Do you remember that?
That's right. No, but that's like that scene in The Howling where they go up to this retreat, and it's the anchor lady, and her husband is a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat. And the beginning of the retreat, he's like, no, I can't. I eat plants. I don't eat meat. But then later on, after he comes into an encounter with the wolf woman, he's just eating ribs like crazy. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but you know what? I think for the werewolf movies, there was another movie that I watched, and this I think was with the same guy that comes out in that other film we were talking about, Invaders of the Body Snatchers. You know, the guy that at the end, he's like, the lady's in the window looking down, and he turns around and he starts making that crazy noise. What's that guy's name? He's a real famous actor, and I should remember his name. But
it's the father of one of the oh my god, I forget his name already. But it's one of the girls that was gone for a while, and she finally says, "I'm here." They haven't invaded me, and he looks like he's normal, but he turns around and he looks at her and he just points at her and goes, "Oh!"
Yeah, he starts making that crazy sound.
Sutherland, something Sutherland.
Sutherland, yes.
Yeah, I forget the father of
Keith Sutherland.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that guy, there's a werewolf movie with him and I tried to look for it, and you know what? I didn't remember his name. That's why I never put the name, and I should have done like my better research. But there's a film with him about werewolves that's really good, and hopefully I could watch it and we'll do it on the Halloween episode, maybe talk about it. But yeah, what else did you watch, Carlitos?
So we talked about Teen Wolf, and I enjoyed that one because of the 80s and the dance, things comedy for me. We talked a little bit about Silver Bullets, The Howling, and let's see. So Silver Bullet has a scene where I don't want to give it away. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
But the Reverend is known to be the werewolf in this case, and he has nightmares, which is a common thing across some of these films. So he has these dreams that the funniest part of this in Silver Bullet is where he's having this nightmare and he's giving the gospel, and everybody starts turning into wolves. People on the bleachers, whatever you call them, what they're called, and even the organist. The funny part is the organist is a wolf with wolf hands and hair, and going like this, and blood splattering everywhere. So Silver Bullet, that one has a dream sequence. The Howling also has a dream sequence because she's going through the changes. But the one I want to talk about is American Werewolf in London, and this is why this is my favorite movie. Actually, should we talk about the other movie before we get to this one?
Which film?
Wolfman.
The Wolfman, is that the original, the classic?
The classic 1941.
The Universal films. You know what? Before you talk about that, that scene you were talking about where everybody in the church starts turning into werewolves. I wonder if that's where. I wonder if that's where. What's his name? Who's the guy that made the movie Dusk Till Dawn? Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
I wonder if Quentin Tarantino that's where he got his scene for Dusk Till Dawn, where they're in the bar. In the bar, and then everybody starts turning into vampires, even the band, and they're like playing instruments as vampires, like with the body parts and stuff. I wonder if that's where he got the idea from.
Yeah, I think that's when either both of them were doing. It's because that movie is half and half. The first part is Quentin, and the second part is Rodriguez.
Oh, that's right. So it's Rodriguez. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And yes, it has that comedy, that element where the band normally is before everybody gets there, they're playing, electric bass or electric guitar, and then once everyone turns into vampires, they got fangs and they look like vampires, and they're playing meat instruments.
They're playing meat instruments. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that what you mentioned. You know what? Now I got to go back and watch Silver Bullet just for that scene.
Yeah, watch Silver Bullet just for that scene. It'll crack you up.
Well, anyways, the Wolfman. What year was the Wolfman made?
Wolfman, it's 1941.
The 60s, right? Oh, dang, the 40s.
1941, yeah.
And it's still good?
I liked it. It was really good. Actually, I watched it with my brother Victor, and he enjoyed it too. This was from Universal Studios, and this one stars Lon Chaney and Bela Lugosi. Well, that's during the whole era of the Universal monster films, right? That's when they did all Vampire, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the what's the one with the beast in the water, the swamp thing, and all that stuff, right? Oh yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's right. Okay. So that was during that time. And so you are correct though. This is during the whole monster period of Universal Studios. Yeah. That's why when you go to Universal Studios for their mazes during Halloween, it's all those monsters because they have the property, the rights for those. Yeah, and I know that they started doing this was about I think like 5 years ago or maybe a little bit longer, where they wanted to do the same thing again, bring back all the Universal monsters, and that's when they took out Dracula, the new Dracula one. They took out the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, and they did the Mummy with Tom Cruise, and they were basically trying to bring everything back. But I don't know. I don't think it worked out as well as back in the day. Yeah, it's too much hype. Yeah. So what happened? I'm excited to hear about the Wolfman. What's the Wolfman about? Is that like it talks about the origins? So Wolfman stars Lon Chaney. He's a son his brother passes away, and I believe is in the area of Europe near Wales to go visit his dad. His dad lives overseas. He visits them at a castle. They live in a castle. And he wants to make amends with his father. While he's making amends with his father, he kind of like likes this girl because he's looking out the telescope and he's kind of perving out on this one beautiful girl at a thrift store. So he makes his way over there, and he befriends her by buying an inexpensive used cane. And this cane that he buys, it's made out of silver. It's a silver head, and it's a wolf's head with the what do you call it? The pentacle.
Okay.
Or whatever, the star, the Satan star on there. So, anyways, he does this, does that, and he goes out on a walking. He wants to go on a date with this girl, but she mysteriously brings along her friend. So he's like, damn. So they go to the hillside, and it's a foggy night, and the gypsies are there. This guy's cane though.
I see where this is going.
Yes, yes. And this is where I find out that the walking cane is made of silver, and Bela Lugosi makes an appearance as one of the gypsies and tries to read the fortune of one of the girls, and he sees her palm because he's a palm reader, and he can only see this sign, which is the star, which is the pentagram, and at the same time the wolf's bane flowers bloom, and that's what they say in the movie. There's a poem for it, and I forgot to bring up the poem. But anyways, once that flower blooms and there's a full moon and everything, the Wolfman comes out. Bela Lugosi transforms, attacks this girl.
So Bela Lugosi is a werewolf?
Bela Lugosi's a werewolf.
Oh, nice,
yes.
nice.
And I believe he plays a character called Bella. It's the gypsy's son named Bella.
That's cool because he was also the vampire, right, in the Dracula films. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So he attacks this girl. Lon Chaney's character comes and saves him, beats him with the silver walking cane. But before it's too late, before that, I guess he gets bitten, scratched up. The other girl dies. His love interest survives. He spent some time in care, but during his time in care, he gets up the next day like nothing.
Yeah.
Scratches and everything gone. From there on, you find out that he's the Wolfman and he's terrorizing everybody in the neighborhood.
Okay. How is the gore factor in it? Is it kind of like Psycho, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like Psycho, but maybe even less because you're not using a knife or anything like that. You're using a blunt object, and there's no blood. Even though it's black and white,
it just kind of leaves it up to the imagination.
And I think that's stronger in some cases.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yes, instead of in your face.
Yeah.
Like the Howling.
Yeah, because there's a lot of films. Yeah, like those films. There is a lot of films where they end up showing it so much that it just kind of loses its effect that it's supposed to have.
Right.
But
that's why most of these classic films, they don't start off right away with the horror. It's saved for later.
Yeah. That's cool. So what do you give the original Wolfman, a 10 out of 10?
Well, because it has Bela Lugosi in there, and the move goes on, and it's a good stride. At the end, unfortunately, the Wolfman, or Lon Chaney's character, is killed by his. Oh, you haven't seen it?
That's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll still watch it.
Lon Chaney is killed by his dad that he never got along with and it was unexpected because his father didn't know that was his son. So he's trying to protect the girl because she's the next one to die. Hits him over the head, and when the Wolfman dies, he goes back into his normal body, his physical form, and his dad's upset. So I thought that was a great ending.
So it had a better ending than The Howling.
Yeah, way better.
The poodle scene.
The poodle. Yeah, so I give it a good 8 out of 10 or so up there because it's just the original one. Sounds good. It has the silver. It has the devil's mark on there, which I think is kind of cool. It all relates to that. And
so what's the relation between? Because I noticed that a couple of these films have like a relation with the whole like satanic thing with the werewolves. Why is that? Is it because the werewolves are supposed to be like demonic or something?
I think it comes back to what we discussed earlier, is the whole witchcraft trials.
Oh, that's right.
And how a lot of lies were put upon the people, and they try to associate one with the other, and that's why the Wolfman has the pentagram.
But that one threw it a step further, trying to say that gypsies are like witches and stuff.
You need somebody to blame.
Yeah, you know what? I actually did watch the remake, the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, and I think that film was by who was it? I think it's the same guy that did Pan's Labyrinth. I forgot his name. Anyways, but
okay.
That film is
the Spanish director.
Yeah, it's Anthony Hopkins is in it too, which I love that actor. And you know what? It wasn't too bad. You said you didn't like it. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay.
I wanted to do things right this time, so I started with Wolfman 1941, and I never could get down to the past the 80s.
But I mean,
I saw the reviews.
Yeah.
I didn't read the reviews, but I saw the stars, and it got lower reviews than the original Wolfman from 1941.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was. I mean, it was better than the one with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Which I kind of wanted to see, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, no, that one's. I give it like a 2 out of 10. I'd rather watch Teen Wolf.
So that poem is called from Wolfman 1941. The poem is called "When the Wolfbane Blooms," and you guys can read it online and look it up. But it's pretty cool. That's one of the things that I really liked about this movie. There's all these little elements.
So I mean, what is the poem? The poem, you have to read the poem to turn into a wolf or to turn back into a human?
No, it's just something people keep referencing, kind of give it that scary element.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time I knew about that poem. I'm not a big monster guy, when I learned about Wolfsbane, the flower, I thought that was kind of neat too when it blooms. So that's another element. The walking cane is another one, the pentagram. And yeah. Oh, and Wolfman was neither a werewolf or a man in some cases because of the way he stands and the way he attacks. They say he was probably like a half and halfer, not a full lichen, but like something in between.
So he had like human legs and wolf top.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, in that film, do they show like a full body or is he always wearing clothes?
He's always wearing clothes.
Oh, okay.
You got to keep it G.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if he turned into a complete wolf, just fur everywhere, you can't see anything anyways. But
right, exactly. Yeah, but they just kept it that way because back then that's how the ratings were and that's what they wanted.
Yeah, not in Psycho.
Well, I guess part of the whole thing I just talked about, half man, half wolf.
Yeah.
Where if you go full wolf, you'll tear off those pants and you'll be all.
That's true. And I think what they were probably trying to do is make the film more like a. Like I guess family friendly, right? So like it's almost like a group of friends and family could go watch it together. Where Psycho was more like for adults.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think they also wanted the rights too. That's why they named it Wolfman instead of Werewolf. They can actually copyright that, and they have a likeness. You cannot use that Wolfman face on a sticker or shirt without Universal's permission. So that's why they go with that look, the in between look, instead of the full or the anything else.
Okay. Hey, for the thumbnail of this video, I'm gonna just wear a mask and in Hawaiian clothes.
It's vacationing lichen.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's jump into the An American Werewolf in London. Because you know what, I haven't watched that film. I want to say like in 15 years. So there's a lot. It's kind of a blur in my mind, but there was some scenes that were in that film. They do show him the whole transformation, right? Where the wolf, like the face is coming out of the wolf face is coming out of the mouth, and then like the claws coming out of the fingers and all that stuff.
Yes, this was what made this movie popular. Is that transformation from man to werewolf? 1941, what made Wolfman popular was a transformation from man to werewolf by using different stills and just changing transparency until you have that werewolf effect. But this one takes it to the next level for 1981. And this is the scene where he already finds out that he's a wolf. But actually, let's go back to the beginning of why he's a werewolf, or how he became a werewolf.
Hey, so, you know what? Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt you, but you know what's the best like transformation scene from man to wolf in any kind of film? Michael Jackson's Thriller. Do you remember that scene where they show like they put like it's like a rubber werewolf face, and these the whiskers start like you can see the whiskers are being pushed out from behind.
Because of the plastic gets pushed out through it.
Well, anyway, let's go back to an American Werewolf. So, what happens at the beginning of this film? It's an American going on vacation or something, right?
So it's two characters, David and Jack, and they decide to go backpacking from northern England to Rome.
Oh, that's right.
Where they're up in England already, they kind of like get stuck or somewhat lost, or they just want to find a place to hang out because it's getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm hungry, I need to find a place, and they find this pub. I believe it's called what's the name of the pub called again? There's a funny name to it. The Slaughtered Lamb, and it has a picture of a wolf with a bunch of blood on it. So this place looks good, and they walk in there. Two American dudes walking into like an English pub, and the American guys are wearing these puffy jackets.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like the whole Back to the Future Michael J. Fox like life vest.
Yeah, exactly, right? They look like life vests. So as soon as they walk in there, people playing darts, people drinking beer, and even the bartender's like looking at them like, what the heck are these people doing?
These guys aren't wolves.
So there's that awkward silence.
Yeah.
And they sit down, and the restaurant owner comes and gives them, he takes their order. So anyways, they're like, whatever, the Englishes are like, whatever, we're gonna do this and that. We start telling jokes, and everyone's laughing, having a good time. But one of the American guys, I think it's Jack, he tells that Englishman, what's the candles on that star for? And everybody shuts up. There's a candle, and there's the pentagram, and just like a triangle there, and they're just like, oh, you shouldn't. They didn't say that you should talk about it, but they gave him that look. So anyways, they feel uncomfortable. They leave, and when they walk out the door, the inside the pub, like, you shouldn't let them go. You shouldn't let them go. But the workers, the customers are like, they'll be all right, they'll be okay. But they have that feeling of guilt. So these boys go out and they get lost, and they're told to stay on the path before the moonlight, but they get lost. They're like, where's the path? Next thing you know, they hear this howling noise, and everything, whatever. So they keep ignoring it. They keep hearing the howling sound. They try to go one way, but they hear scampering in front of them. So they're, something's following us. We got to go back the other way. And they try going back the other way, back to the pub. Yeah, a good idea. Let's go back to the pub. The scampering comes in front of them, and this thing's just hunting them like in a circle.
Oh, I see. So what was there more than one wolf? Was it a pack of wolves or werewolves, or just?
It was just one wolf in this case that's so fast he was just running around these guys.
Okay.
And he kills the best friend, and he names, I believe his name's David. 3 months later, David's found in a hospital. Finally comes to.
And, he was like in a coma or something?
Yeah, 3 months later, he was like in a coma for 3 months. And he comes to, and he falls in love with the nurse. And later on, when he's healthy, he goes out and he starts dating her, stays in England for a while, and starts getting visions. The first one vision is actually in the hospital. The vision is of his friend, Jack, that was murdered. And he's real flesh, but he's still bloody. And he warns him, hey, you got to kill yourself, because what happened was you were attacked by a werewolf. You got to commit suicide, or else on the next full moon, you're going to start killing innocent people.
Yeah.
So he's like, whatever. I think I'm losing my mind, but whatever. So he moves out with his girlfriend, and he moves in with his girlfriend. And he has another vision of his friend come out, but this time he's a little bit more grotesque. Mm-hmm. Kind of like he's in his casket, right? And he's rotting as time progresses. Yeah,
you know what? And that scene, because I remember the friend would come and visit him, and he every time he would see him, he would like, it's almost like he was decomposing more and more.
Yes, and there are scenes where he comes and decomposes. But every time he comes, he's also doing something funny. Like the first time in the hospital, he grabs a piece of bread and he stirs it around the yolk and he eats it, and he starts telling his friend David about what's going to happen if he doesn't commit suicide. And I thought that was funny. And the second scene is in the apartment where he's telling him, you gotta take care of yourself because innocent people are going to die. And there's this funny picture that I'm going to put up with him. His decomposing face is all green, and he's holding a little Mickey Mouse doll.
And you know what? That does, like I was telling you before, Pets. This film reminds me a lot of Pet Sematary. Wasn't Pet Sematary also have like a spirit that kept on coming back to warn someone about something, like the same thing like this film? Do you remember that, or am I just mixing it up?
I don't recall. I wouldn't be the one to ask that because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, because remember in Pet Sematary, the husband's a doctor, and then a patient dies at the hospital, and then the patient keeps on going to visit the doctor, saying, you know what, you gotta get out of here, you gotta get out of here, throughout the whole film. But anyways, go ahead, let's go. So you said that the spirit kept coming back with Mickey Mouse.
Frank keeps coming back, and the reason why he finds out is Frank keeps coming back is because every time the wolf attacks somebody and kills that person, their spirit stays in limbo. And in order for that spirit to move on and go to heaven or the next part of their life, is for the werewolf to die. So they kind of
I see. So the spirit's kind of trapped.
The spirit is trapped, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Sorry to bother you again. There was this story that I heard on. Do you remember there was a radio station? I think it was KFI AM 640, like back in the day when we were younger. And there was this guy named George Norrie. And he had like a haunting hour where people would call and tell, true hauntings that they had. And there was a story that this person called in and told about how she had a friend that, I guess she lived like a few hours away from a friend, and this friend left in a motorcycle, to go back home, and she started having dreams about this person, and every night she dreamt them, he would say, please come look for me. And every time she dreamt them, every dream was a little, he was a little more decomposed till like towards the last dreams, he was missing pieces of like his face, and there was like maggots coming out. So she didn't know what happened to him because she would try to call his house, and I think he used to live alone, so nobody knew where he was. So eventually they ended up finding the body off a cliff, and he had fallen. So once they took the body out, the dream stopped. Which kind of reminds me of this whole situation with an American Werewolf.
For sure. The body was found and it was saved through prayer or a proper burial.
So I mean, maybe that's a true belief, right? That if the body gets trapped, maybe the spirit is trying to, won't be able to be set free until it's found or whatever.
It's at peace. Yeah.
It's at peace. Yes. So then what happens after this?
And so I guess the third vision. Well, before the third vision, he's having these dreams just like in the last movies that I talked about, which was Silver Bullet and The Howling. There's a lot of dreams in this movie too. And in this case, the first dream that he has after he's in the hospital is that he's running around through the forest and he's just scampering through. And he sees goes around a tree and he sees a deer, and next thing you know, he's popping up from the bush and he has the deer's hind leg in his mouth and it's covered in blood, but he's in human form.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, what's going on? Like, this is part of the transformation.
Yeah. So in this film, was he like throughout the film like going and hunting, and he just didn't know it was happening?
In his dreams, yeah, he was hunting and he had the animal instinct coming through. Like the animal instinct was already embedded or.
So it really wasn't happening. It was just dreams.
Well, as these dreams were happening, he was going through these changes also. And becoming a werewolf. And there's this other scene after that dream sequence where he goes out and he actually becomes the werewolf, and that's the scene I want to get to, where he's in his girlfriend's room and in the living room in the loft, right? And he just starts changing in the restroom. He has the hair's coming out, and he goes into the living room. And this is that cool 80s effect where his hands just start stretching out.
Yeah, I remember that scene freaked me out when I watched that when I was younger. That was so real. Like the practical effects.
Right, no CG, none of that funny stuff. It was all practical effects. People actually working on these models, and you just see the spine just curve and turn into an animal's back. And when that jaw came out, you're like, whoa, this is just intense. He's actually turning into a werewolf. And
that scene was awesome.
So he goes out and he hunts and he kills a couple of bums, a couple of other innocent people. Yeah, he does. He kills a couple of hobos.
Yeah.
and when he wakes up in the morning, as in a human form, he's found in the zoo inside of a pen with regular wolves.
Oh, like, that's right. That's right. I remember that.
He's like, I'm naked with these wolves here. What the heck's going on here? And he climbs out. And he's
hey, at least he didn't wake up. At least he didn't wake up like, why am I sore? Could have been a lot worse.
Wolves are known to do that for disrespectful reasons in the wild. That's another fun fact. So he gets out and he's wandering or actually hiding around the zoo area, and he's behind a bush, and he sees this kid with balloons. Hey kid, give me your balloons. I'll give you a pound. So what? So he just steals them because he has no pockets. But maybe give me a pound if you have no money. So he just takes them, and he's running around town naked with these balloons until it's the next scene where the kid's like, "Mom, the American man stole my balloons." And it's this funny meme. I'm gonna put it up here on the.
You know what? That was one of the things, and it still is one of the things that I enjoy so much about these films. You know, that they could be so serious and scary and everything, but they always throw a little humor in there. You know, just to kind of throw you off.
You're right, and it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. And I don't know if I should spoil the ending, but it goes on.
Spoilers.
So Jack's buddy, David's buddy, Jack, the one that died, that's haunting him. He's like in a porno theater, and Jack's walking around, and then Jack's like, "Come here," and Dave comes in, and he goes inside, and he meets him up in a porno theater, and he starts talking to his decomposing friend. By this time, he's all green and flesh is off, and his teeth are showing.
Was there a scene where the friend, at that point where he's so badly decomposed? Was there a scene where he's kind of talking all like rough? His voice is all like, his vocal cords are all like messed up? Or I'm probably thinking of something else. But did that happen or no? He's talking clearly the whole time?
I don't recall that part, but what I do recall in this part is he's telling him the same thing about it. You got to do it because all these people here you've killed, and you're going to kill even more.
Is he telling him to kill himself?
Yes, he's telling him to kill himself because he's hurting innocent people. And on the third time when he sees him in the adult theater, he sits down with him and tells him, "You got to do it this time because you're killing these innocent people, and here they are." And as you pan over on the other side of his buddy, the one that's decomposing, you see the dead love couple. Then you see the three bums. They're all angry at him
from beyond the grave.
Right? And they're all telling him the same thing. So I don't want to spoil the ending of it, but it's a good ending.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's not spoil that one because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like kids, like newer generations now that probably never even heard of this film. You know, so it's a great film. Great film. I think that film I give it 10 out of 10. That was a great film.
I think so too because it has everything in it. It's funny, suspenseful. It has a lot of action in it. You don't see a lot of the wolf like jumping around from building to building. It's not that kind of movie. It's more like a mix between the 80s werewolf movies and the 1941 classic, where it's more about the structure, putting everything in play.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Carlitos. But I think. Let me see. What else did I know I watched something else with werewolves. I think that's it.
So you just.
I think that's all I watched. Did you watch something else, or was that all you watched?
No, that was it. American Wolf in London, the original Wolfman, Howling, Silver Bullet, Teen Wolf, which is a very good movie, by the way. Teen Wolf. We got a little wolf fight here too. Well, that's Chewbacca, but
Chewbacca
almost looks like.
Hey, was Chewbacca part wolf?
No. Yeah, he's a Wookiee.
He's a Wookiee. Teen Wookiee.
Wookiee.
Yeah.
Another fun fact that I want to just quickly mention. Here we go. Some people also heard that werewolf myth came from the Germanic warriors that were called berserkers or special forces. They put on the animal pelts and went into battle. So I think that was kind of neat from back in the day.
You know what film I was forgetting, I think I messaged you, send you a message to you. I sent a message to you about this film, the Dog Soldiers. Were you able to watch it?
That was on my list, and I don't have it.
Oh my God, you gotta check that one out. That's a good, and I think that film came out in the early 2000s. But
okay.
Really good movie. This kind of gives the whole werewolf thing a twist, because what happens is the government decides to mess around with genetics, and they're trying to make the super soldier, right? So they decide to mix the DNA of a wolf with a human, and they end up becoming these these guys that they could send in. They're basically werewolves with guns.
Okay.
But it's really good because the thing is that they're able to regenerate. Like if they get hurt, they don't die right away. You have to really like completely destroy them for them to die. So it's almost like a crazy, like fast, unstoppable machine kind of. But in that film, I think what happens is they actually, it's these Americans also. I think they go to Russia or something. And they end up staying in this like a hotel, or what would you call it? It's not called a hotel over there. But anyways, they stay in this like a loft.
What do you call it? Not a loft. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So they stay at this place, and then these soldiers, the dog soldiers, end up showing up to try to kill them. And so they have they're armed too, so they have to like build all these like booby traps and try to kill all the werewolves. It's really good. It's really entertaining. It has nothing to do with any of the origins or anything. It's just fun.
But it's different. It's fun.
Yeah,
it takes you out of the element. It's funny though, because when you mentioned it and I saw the title here, I was gonna watch it, but when I saw the title, I was like, dog soldiers, and I was like, toy soldiers. It's not the same thing. Now I know where toy soldiers got the idea from.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna talk a lot about it because there's really, it's not very memorable, but it's just it's like a fun watch. If you want to just waste some time, eat some popcorn, drink a couple of beers, and just kill an hour and a half.
Definitely, that's one of the ones that I wanted to see, but I have no access to that one. Okay. Curse of the Werewolf, I didn't get a chance. Company of Wolves is another good one. Wolfen and Late Phases. I want to watch those 5 and see what's the story of those.
And you know what? We are going to be doing a Halloween special where we're going to be talking about, I think we're going to do like a combination of all monsters, right? And so I'm pretty sure we're going to still have to watch some of these films that we didn't get to watch, like the vampire ones and the witch ones and the werewolves. And we'll get to those films. But
a little bit of a Halloween history, and then we'll move on to the movie.
Yeah, to our favorite Halloween, like monster films and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Carlos, I think we're done for today, episode 23.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. There's so much more we can talk about, but that's all we can fill in for right now.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we don't want to just bore you guys with just so much stuff about the wolves. I think keep it short and sweet.
There you go.
But you know what? Before we end, I do want to give a quick a shout out to all the people. There's a lot of viewers that are friends of mine that watch the channel, and I got a lot of happy birthdays from people because my birthday just passed.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to, I just want to say thank you for all the birthday wishes and everything. And I do want to give a special thanks to my co-host Carlos, because he actually brought me something that I've been wanting for a while. And
beer.
Well, yeah, beer besides the beer, but it's something that I've been trying to get. I had ordered some game thing or online, and it never got here. I ended up losing like $35 or $40,
yeah,
and then it got lost. It got lost in the mail. And my co-host here got me a little NES Classic Edition. So I'm gonna be playing this probably tonight. So anyways, Carlos, I want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think this is the best birthday gift I got this year. So.
Oh man! Hopefully the wife won't get mad.
Nah. I'll play in the garage. I don't care.
Well, happy birthday! Hopefully you enjoy and many more years to come.
Oh, I know. I know.
I know you wanted to play that kung fu game so badly.
Yes. Is there anything you wanted to mention, Carlos? Any shout outs? Any breweries?
No, not at this time.
Not today. Okay. And today I wasn't really drinking beer. I wasn't in the mood, so I was drinking some ginger tea. Ginger lemon tea. Thumbs down. But anyways, guys, don't forget to, if you like the video, press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And, share it so, we could get a little more subscribers. We're happy that, we're getting more subscribers now, but hopefully we could, keep pushing it, keep going higher.
Yes.
But
thank you so much.
Yeah,
awesome.
but
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, we do. And you know what? Follow us on our Facebook page. Everything comes out right here. Carlos always does a good job putting all the information down here. But yeah, and if you haven't watched any of the previous, monster videos that we've done, with the witches and what was the other one? The witch, the vampires. If you haven't watched those, check them out. They're pretty fun. But,
we'll put a link to them up on top.
Yeah, we'll have a link to it. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time on San Pedro Paranormal. Hopefully, we'll. You know what, Carlos? I want to do mummies next week. So if you like mummies, tune in next Friday.
It's okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Teen Wolf sucks.
Howling blows.